Hi there, Scary Gary. Sure glad to see you guys for another week. Well, we're leaving Northeast Missouri and we're heading toward Michigan. And as I said at the beginning, I try to do 300 to 400 mile trips. And this is one of my really first major hiccups, which added to the time that we had to drive. I looked at the 400 mile area and tried to find a campground. I couldn't find anything that was available. So luckily, my loving wife, Mary Lou, she found a new app that is RV Life. And RV Life had a campground that was just a little bit north of Green Bay, which unfortunately pushed my 400 miles to 500 miles. And it made it a little bit longer drive than I really wanted to, but we did find a campground up there. It also rained on us pretty good, at least half of the day. So we found a campground by the name of Holtwood Campground in Oconto. I might probably not pronouncing that right. And it was actually ran by the city of Oconto. And when you turned into it, you drove past a lot of baseball fields and a lot of, and a pretty good sized swimming pool. The one thing I always do, I'll call the campground. If I'm gonna be there after 5, I wanna make certain I still got a spot. And when I called them, they said, oh yeah, we're closed down. You're in E1. Just go ahead and park tomorrow morning, come by before you leave and just settle up with us then. So great, no problem. We get there. I drove in and I'm looking for E1 and I see a sign in front of me that says A, and then we drive around this loop at least 1.5 times and just could not find anything was E. And then wished I would have looked at the sign up there at the front. There was no map of the campground on it, but there was a box underneath it that had a campground map, and that would have saved us quite a bit of driving around to find the spot. Finally, I saw some E's on the one side. And luckily, the person that was in E3, they were just getting back. And I said, I go, you're in E2, correct? Or E3, right? He goes, yeah. Says, do you know where E1 is? He goes, yeah, it's right beside us. And I says, but it says E2 back here. And I said, well, look on this other side. They actually had the spots set up where it was like E1, E2, E3, E4. Now he had a large Class A and he had like 2 vehicles, so he was using E3 and 4. And I says, man, I don't know if I can get in here. Now I measured it on Google and it turned out it was like 117 feet, so it would have been very, very tight if we all would have been there. But he told me, hey, he says, the guy that left before you says he was all there by himself. He says, just take the whole thing up. It's no big deal. Now, about the campground. Best thing of all, number one, we found a spot. Second thing was it's only $35 a night, which is a really good price for full utilities, for hookups, 50 amp. Again, it's a city campground. And looking at their map, they had 130 on Campendium, and it said it was like 160 on one website I looked at, and there was a lot of reserve sites, a lot of tent sites that weren't being used. The seasonal sites, they were very large, but they were mostly looked like full-timers because a lot of people had their own porches built, and so it was like they had this set up for, for themselves for the year. And they did have monthly rates, and they had a playground. The really nice thing about this, which would have been nice if we were going to stay there, was the Oconto River, which loops completely around this campground. And they were renting out canoes and tubes. They had miniature golf. They had, lots of amenities that we really never got to use because we were there only really the one night. So I would go back and I would stay. I would sure hope that we were only I could basically get a little better spot, but I would go back. Well, I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope to see you next week.
If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
Turn on your post notifications.
Put the comments down below. Subscribe and you make me happy.